This Barcelona side has scored 4 goals in a single game 12 times in calendar year 2025. They're unbeaten in 23 games.
Borussia Dortmund comprehensively outplayed then by Barcelona. 4-0 could quite easily have been 5 or 6. The tests keep on coming for Dortmund as well. They've got the Klassiker against Bayern Munich on Saturday. Here's their winger Karim Adeyemi speaking post-match.
Adeyemi, it's not the best result for you to lose here against a wonderful team here. You had the chances to maybe close up in the first half, and at the end of the match to just try to make it less complicated for the next game. But 4-0, I think it's a big result now.
Yes, I think it's just quite embarrassing how we played today, including myself, of course, the whole team. This is not what we wanted, of course, but at the end it's like this, and for me, myself, is still some hope, but it will be really hard. So let's focus on the game on the weekend, and then we continue. Yes.
You gave Koundé some hard job in the first half. You got the yellow card. What was the reason of changing you on halftime?
Yeah, I think the ref didn't like me. He gave me a yellow card for, I don't know. I didn't see it right now, but I don't think it's a yellow card. From this action, we get a goal, and yeah, it's hard. And then after, somebody said I step on his foot, second yellow, and then the ref said to the coach, if he do something again, it's a red card. So at the end, he has to put me out, and I'm just angry at myself and just angry that we lose in this way.
Oh, now it's time to cool down now and think about the second leg. What do you think about the second leg? What can be the chances of your Borussia Dortmund?
As I said, the hopes are still there for myself. It's really hard, but at the end it's football, and we play at home, and I'm excited for the game. But yeah, let's see.
Thank you very much. We wish you best of luck. Thank you.
Ian, with the amount of games that Barcelona have got to come as they fight for the treble, as we know they are, how much of an advantage is it now for them that they can kind of chill out in this second leg coming up?
Yeah, the game was done, I think, before even this contest began. However, Borussia Dortmund impressed me in the first 45 minutes. Guirassi's got to take his opportunities, and he didn't do that, and therefore you were punished by one of the best teams in world football right now in Barcelona. So now you have such an advantage. Yes, you can start to rotate your team. There's no way Borussia Dortmund are going to score 4 goals anywhere close to that against this Barcelona side. I think even Barcelona, with Hansi Flick on the sidelines, you've got to remember he's going back to Germany. Obviously, he's previously managed in Germany. He's been assistant manager of the national team and manager of the national team. He's obviously been a World Cup winner as well as a part of that management group. And for Lewandowski in particular, he's gone back to his former team. But I want to focus on Hansi Flick right now and the job that he's done. You know, the Champions League is quite remarkable. It's one of the most difficult competitions to have success in. But Hansi Flick now, with that victory over Borussia Dortmund, picked up his 25th win in 29 matches in charge of a team in the Champions League. Adam, that is unheard of when it comes to the elite of the elite. Coaching in this competition and trying to have success is almost impossible consistently. But to have 25 victories in 29 matches, he's the special one.
He is, and when you consider that he was brought in kind of like a fireman, given all of the financial and off-the-field issues that the club had.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that, because you remember what happened, obviously, with Barcelona under Xavi. They were excellent. Yes, the team was young, they were raw, but all the talk was about his tactics, the arguments he's having with players in the locker room, obviously the financial issues. They're not playing in the Camp Nou. Now, all of a sudden, Hansi Flick has pinpointed exactly where he wanted to go. Maybe he was handpicked by Barcelona, but also Hansi Flick was waiting for the opportunity for the right club to come around for him to go to make a difference. And what he does is he has tremendous success with young players, and he has great success with experienced players who have respect for him immediately. Remember, this is the guy who coached Bayern Munich to 6 trophies in a single campaign. And he might do the same again for this Barcelona side. It's absolutely ridiculous what he's doing. Now, I went and listened to the post-game, obviously, interviews with many players, and one in particular stood out to me was Lewandowski. And the interviewer asked him in German, he said, what's the difference that Hansi Flick has brought into this Barcelona side? And Lewandowski's response was excellent. He said, this team has been able to grow. 1 year to 2 years makes a big difference in this game. And if you look at the youngest team that Barcelona's put out there for such a long period of time, It's really special to see that type of a performance, that type of consistency, and the excellence that Barcelona put out. It's not necessarily just down to Hansi Flick, but I think the Barcelona fans are pointing the finger in his direction as to why all the success is happening.
We saw the starting lineup there. How many of those players do you think will start the second leg? Because there is a case to be made, the likes of Yamal, Lewandowski, Pedri. He could rest them if he wanted to.
Yeah, good luck trying to get those guys not to play, though, right?
You think they'll play a bit and then he'll just bring them off?
I think the point you want to try and make when you go into this game is not to lose it. I mean, Barcelona are in an unbelievable, consistent phase right now. Why would you want to change that? Now, this is an important factor that I want to point out here. This Barcelona side has scored 4 goals in a single game 12 times in calendar year 2025. They're unbeaten in 23 games. Why would you try to mess with that by saying, hey, you know what, it's an opportunity to rest? I think the question would be, who wants to play? Who wants to go at this game? Who wants to be competitive? Make sure you don't get injured, yes, but you got to go with the right mentality to try and get the job done. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Dortmund and try and win there. Dortmund's record at home this season has not been great. It's improving over the last month, but it's not been great. So Barcelona in this type of fashion right now, I would imagine will go full of confidence trying to get yet again another victory.
Let's talk about Borussia Dortmund. It was a bruising defeat for them. As you mentioned, completely expected. A lot of people will say that they're lucky to have even got to this stage of the Champions League. It feels like a car they've been trying to keep on the road most of this season. Is there any way for them to pick themselves up? Obviously, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to win the second leg.
No.
But for Niko Kovac to try to focus on some positives and restore some confidence in this side.
Yeah, massively. I think the focus now has to turn to try and get into a European spot in the Bundesliga. They have a big game coming up at the weekend that you pointed out at the top, and that is against Bayern Munich in der Klassiker. It's a massive game for him, obviously. They will be away from home in that game. Obviously, Bayern have got one eye on a different game as well against Inter coming up next week. But Borussia Dortmund so far domestically in the league have been very, very poor. They're currently sitting in 8th place, and they've got to do everything they possibly can to get into a European place, let alone a Champions League spot. They're 5 points behind that Champions League spot. I think they need to wipe away the second leg, my personal opinion, and focus on this Bayern Munich game, because the games coming up are so important. Now, this is the 11 obviously they went out with. Many players let themselves down in this game. I thought Anton and Emre Can were poor. I thought Guirassy in front of goal, someone who scored 10 goals this season, was awful. Didn't take his opportunities in big games, in knockout stages. When you're playing for a club like Borussia Dortmund with history in this competition, you got to take your chances, and they didn't do that in this game, and therefore they were punished by a better team. Gittins too quiet, Adeyemi taken off at half-time, Brandt giving up possession of the ball for the goal that they conceded to make it 4-0. A lot of mistakes are happening around Borussia Dortmund, and Niko Kovac is struggling right now just to keep up with all the errors that are happening around him.
They're one of those big teams that requires a rebuild over the summer. Where do you think Kovac, if he sticks around, is going to be focusing? It's surely that back line.
Yeah, the back line's got to improve. I would say the 2 centre-backs in particular. Obviously, Schlotterbeck just recently got injured. He's now going to be out for the rest of the season. I don't think he's good enough either. I think they need to improve, obviously, in that middlefield. I said it in German. In the midfield part of the area, they need to be stronger. They need to be solid. They're missing a leader. They don't have that leadership. Normally, it's Emre Can with the captain's armband there that leads this group. They don't have that. Previously, it was Marco Reus, and he's not there. You can't rely on that experience anymore because everyone's looking around for help from another player on the field. And I've been in that position many times when I'm looking around and it's not quite going well for me, and I'm looking around for someone else to step up and play well because I'm not having a good game. There's too many of them not having a good game at Dortmund, and no one stepping up and saying, don't worry, boys, I'm going to pull you forward. Let's go. Let's, put them in position. Niko Kovac was that type of player on the field, but I think he's struggling on the sidelines to really get the job done. And, I mean, listen, Barcelona are in such great form. They're in such great form. They could have done that against any team in the Champions League tonight. And they've done that this season against majority of teams that they've come up against. But Borussia Dortmund, going into this contest, I gave them 1% chance of going through. Now I give them no % chance of going through. Their focus should be on European competition next year, the rebuild. And it has to happen not only on the field, off the field. Not good enough. Some of the executive decisions, firing Nouri Sahin, it's just not good enough from Dortmund. They've got room for improvement on the pitch, but they've also got room for improvement off the pitch.
Yeah, they're going to really have to turn it around ahead of the weekend's game in the Classic.